Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the field from San Antonio, Texas, Crossmen.
Oh yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Crossmen, world-class drum corps, and I Speak For You radio events want you to save the dates. 13 and 14 June 2014. That's right, the Crossmen, Texas's only world-class drum corps, representing San Antonio, Texas to the world, presenting their second annual 1 mile run, walk, stroll, crawl, whatever you need to do. How fast can you run 1 mile? All information on ispeakforyou.net or crossmen.org. I say save the dates 13 and 14 June. The run is on the 14th, but the 13th is their MMX, their dress rehearsal, before they go out on tour around the country. Find out more information again at crossmen.org or at ispeakforyou.net. I just had to listen to percussion. Just to let you know. So we got Joel Moody, world of famous Joel Moody, and he's looking dapper. He actually did his hair today, which I'm totally surprised. He used the razor.
Good afternoon, Crossman.
He actually did
family.
use the razor.
Good afternoon.
Here we go. He was actually sitting here practicing his voice. Good afternoon, Crossman family. Hello, Vent. Vent was the first one on our chat today. Hello, Vent from iText.
Hey, Vint, how are you?
No, don't play with that. Oh, I got a 5-year-old here playing with her brother's razor. And we are live on ispeakforyou.net. You don't need to go to Spreaker.com, user ispeakforyou. Just go to ispeakforyou.net, and we are live on my website, which is totally cool. And if you want to hashtag us, you want to hashtag ispeakforyouRadio, which I'm going to do a hashtag Crossman Radio next week, but we're not that week yet. And this is a big week. Joel's looking good as usual. Hello, all those Crossman staffers out there listening in the Crossman world.
We are here, and we're excited. It's a busy week for us, busy weekend coming up, but real excited for another camp, and particularly excited about our performance tomorrow evening at the Texas Rangers baseball game as part of our big league weekend here in San Antonio. And they have the Rangers and Astros are doing 2 games back-to-back, Friday and Saturday night, and Crossmen will be performing the national anthem tomorrow evening as part of that, as well as a couple other tunes. We're going to do Russian Christmas music and some tuning chords and do a little exhibition performance, and then there'll be a little bit of a break, and then we're on for the national anthem. So it should be pretty exciting.
Well, obviously they don't want your and I's drumline to go over there and do a performance.
Yes, the Joel Moody versus Mark Purnell drumline is already stirring up some excitement, and we're ready for that for the drumline battle.
Do we actually have to
June
play
13th.
in the drumline?
Yeah, that is part of the requirement.
Oh, I thought it was just like the name of mine.
Yeah,
I can just
you're
have
not
what I want.
managing it, Mark. You have to actually participate.
I got like Neil Peart.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
If you can get Neil Peart to come to MMX, then
hey,
I'm
you never know.
really impressed.
I give him a trip. I give him a hotel at the Riverwalk. He'll come down.
There you go.
You know, but hey, Chuck's listening as well.
Awesome. Welcome, Chuck.
It's going to be a big weekend, as you said, performing tomorrow night, Texas Rangers. Obviously, this isn't the first time the Crossmen have played for the Texas Rangers, though.
Correct. We performed for the last home game of the season last year, the 2013 season. And actually, we'll be playing for the last home game of this season as well.
Nice.
In September up in Arlington for the last Texas Rangers game. So we're excited about that. We got a big camp weekend. We've got drill to learn, so that's exciting. We're going to start putting our first pages of drill. Chuck and the arranging team has finished up the next piece of our production, so we'll put all that together, and hopefully by the end of the weekend have a full show to be able to play down, or pretty close.
It's going to be busy.
It's going to be busy. It always is.
The folks that are coming in tomorrow, because obviously to perform tomorrow night before the Rangers, you have to be here before a certain time. And they really don't have a lot of time to mess around. I mean, what's going on the schedule tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a tight timeline. When we were trying to coordinate all the logistics, the hard part about it is, of course, that school doesn't get out till about 3:30 for Judson Middle School, which is where we're having our camp this weekend. So the Alamo Dome needed us ready to play by about 5 or 5:30. So there were just some really tricky logistics to figure out. But right now we have everybody meeting at the Alamo Dome at 3:30 p.m. and they were able to coordinate some parking for us and our semi-trailer and all that good stuff. And so essentially we'll be getting kids in uniforms. A big shout out to Scott Reeves and our wonderful Crossmen 151s. That will be helping out either shuttling kids directly from the airport to the Alamo Dome or helping get kids into uniforms and get them some instruments checked out. And our team will go to work and have them ready to perform for the event. So it should be a really great day tomorrow. And then meanwhile, the other half of our administrative team will be over at Judson getting set up for our normal camp operations, and we'll be shuttling kids over and staff over as they arrive and have them ready to start camp pretty close to on time. I think it only ends up with the Rangers game. I think we've maybe pushed things back about a half hour.
Really?
So otherwise, everything is good to go. And it's going to be a great weekend.
A little stressful?
On Monday it was, but feeling pretty good about it right now. You know, those are just part of what we do, and got it all taken care of. And the folks for the Rangers have been wonderful, and we're excited to play for that event, so it should be cool.
Yeah, the musical athletes, the musicianal athletes, I will say.
Well, I think it's big too, also because it's a huge event in San Antonio, and we do various events, community events when we can, and our own performances. But to be on this big of a stage, really, I think they said last year for the similar big league weekend they had maybe, I want to say it was like 70,000 people over 2 nights.
Yeah.
So we're expecting a crowd of between 35 and 40,000 people for our performance. So looking forward to that. That's another big stage.
You need me to come down there and do the introductions. That's all I'm going to say.
I tried, Mark. They wouldn't let me.
I know.
So.
I understand Major League Baseball. I announced for the San Francisco Giants one game because their guy was sick, and I was like, oh, man, this is cool. And the guy, he was sitting right behind me, literally hacking into a towel, and he was like, don't even think about it. Don't even think about taking my job. I was like, man, this is cool. But, it's one of those things. But we got so much going on. We got iTex going on. We've got our fund drives going on. We got our gas drives or fuel-a-thons going on. The uniform fund drives going on, which I'm not allowed to speak about the uniforms.
Well, you can speak for them from the standpoint of that we are getting them.
They are. That's right.
We have seen some samples, and we're really excited about that. I think everyone is going to be really, really excited about the uniform that we're putting out this year. And we've almost raised all the funds for that, so we're really close. Our goal was $37,500 this year. And we are somewhere, I believe, in the 32, 33 range. So we're, rounding the corner on that to get all of the uniform secured, or the funding for that secured, and make that happen. So if you're listening out there and can pitch in,
yes,
we'd certainly love to have your help. Excuse me. And then Club Unity is kicking off this month as well. That's our big annual fundraising drive that helps with a variety of different things for the Corps, and all of that will kick off in the first part of April, first couple weeks of April. So we're excited about that.
So I had someone ask me the other day, he marched Cavaliers years ago, and he had asked me, he goes, so what do you think is going through folks' mind right now at the Crossmen? I'm talking about the musicians, not staff. And I was like, well, you March Cavaliers, you understand what's going on. You know what happens into March, beginning of April, time's getting close. You're starting to get things coming together. And he said the first thing he thought was during this time frame was, man, move-in's close, and I've got to get ready to pack. Because the camp's here, and then I'll see you next year. We're already in April.
Sure.
And then basically. And then May's here, and we're moving in, and
yeah, it's happening fast and furious. Rico and I were having a conversation the other day, just that, oh man, it's now less than 2 months away before we move in together. So we've got our March camp this weekend, and then April camp. The color guard joins us again, and that's right at the end of April. And then just a few more weeks after that, we'll be starting move-ins. So it's an exciting time. I think most of our members are actively, of course, involved with their school, wrapping up sort of their school year or just right at the tail end of that. So, and some of them are involved. Obviously, our color guard participants are involved with WGI, and we, of course, have a lot of our drumline members that are involved in the indoor percussion circuit. So all that is wrapping up in the next couple of weeks. So I think the attention is going to be full throttle by the time we get to April camp, and but we still have work to do. And March camp, we have a whole set of goals for the weekend, and it's important that we cross those off the list and take care of our business. So it'll be great to have our design team folks in. Chuck is here. Mike Hardiak, our drill designer, will be in this weekend. And then, of course, our normal gamut of staff. So it should be good. Just keep working hard and getting the show together. We've been a little tight-lipped, I think, about a few things this year so far. But I think that's by design.
You are. I cannot get any secrets out of you, Fred, Rico.
Just want to keep focused on what we're doing and not make a big deal out of a lot of that stuff, because that time will come. And so that's sort of been the path that we've taken. But we're excited. So
it's amazing,
There's
folks.
definitely a lot of excitement.
Yeah, you can find out more information at crossmen.org. We're going to play a quick commercial break. It's a 1-minute break. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to see if Joel can give me a drum roll. See if he can even do that.
You got it.
All right, we'll be right back. iSpeakForYou.net. This is the Crossmen Hour, crossmen.org. Oh, yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Crossmen, world-class drum corps, and I Speak For You radio events want you to save the dates. 13 and 14 June 2014. That's right, the Crossmen, Texas's only world-class drum corps, representing San Antonio, Texas to the world, presenting their second annual 1 mile run, walk, stroll, crawl, whatever you need to do. How fast can you run 1 mile? All information on iSpeakForYou.net or crossmen.org. I say save the dates 13 and 14 June. The run is on the 14th, but the 13th is their MMX, their dress rehearsal, before they go out on tour around the country. Find out more information again at crossmen.org or at iSpeakForYou.net. I'm just going to play that last 10 seconds over and over and over.
It's pretty awesome.
It is pretty awesome. It's pretty cool.
We'll get you some more updated music.
No, I mean, I can go on YouTube, obviously, the Crossmen channel, and download stuff and all that, which I'll probably do. I mean, this weekend's crazy, obviously, for the Crossmen, crazy for myself. I've got a 5K for wheelchair athletes to announce on Saturday morning. It's around Woodlawn Lake. It's 2 laps. It's for spinal cord injuries, wounded warriors. So that's going to be pretty cool to do for them. And then Saturday night, I got a neon dash run at Retama, which everybody is supposed to wear white because it's all neon. And
Sure.
I mean, I've golfed in neon and bowled in neon. I don't know about the run thing, but I'm announcing that. And then Sunday, I've got a half Ironman to announce.
Wow.
So
not a busy weekend at all.
Yeah, not a busy weekend at all. So, but it's one of those things like I wouldn't have it any other way, actually. So
I think that's kind of how we feel generally in our world in Crossman land. It always seems like on to the next thing and always staying busy. But we like it. We wouldn't do it any other way.
Yes, I got a question for you that came in through the Spreaker page. Of course, you can find it. We can find us online from now on, 1:30 to 2:30. Of course, on Thursdays, the Crossmen Show, otherwise known as the Bones Hour, on iSpeakForYou.net. So you just go to iSpeakForYou.net, and it's playing right there. Just push a little play button if it doesn't automatically start playing. And then we got a hashtag, of course, it's coming out next week. It's going to be hashtag Crossman Radio, and you can chat with us there as well as on Spreaker.com. But the question was, it came across the page, was, Joel, what do you want on your hoagie?
What do I want on my hoagie?
Yes.
I would like ham, turkey, cheese.
What kind of cheese?
Swiss.
Swiss? All right.
Swiss cheese, yeah. All the vegetables, but no pickles, no tomatoes. And mustard.
Is potato is it a vegetable or a fruit?
Which is that?
Potato.
A potato?
Yeah.
Are you going to put me on the spot here? I'm
Put you
sure
on the
it's
spot.
probably like neither one. There's probably some weird scientific, it grows a certain way, and therefore it's,
Because,
I think it's a vegetable.
loser of our drumline battle is going to get a potato. And you have to carry it with you the whole year.
All right, bring it.
Yeah, it's going to be one ugly potato.
When I marched Suncoast Sound in 1993, for some reason we had an apple, and we kept an apple in a jar
What?
all summer long. Don't ask me. I mean, I was 14 years old. We thought that was a cool thing to do. So we carried this apple around all summer long in a jar and watched it decompose, and it was really kind of ridiculous, but looking back, but good times.
Potatoes are worse.
Drum corps.
Yeah, drum corps. The
Building
things you do. The things you do. So I'm going to try to get a secret from you. Obviously, we won't talk about uniforms. We will talk about some other things that obviously we're not allowed to talk about.
Right.
But what is something that happens on the bus that no one else would know?
Well, I'm sure there are a lot of things that happen on the bus that
I like how you
no
put
one
that.
would know. The bus is sort of the bus becomes our home for the summer. I think that
Right.
the members really utilize that as their personal space. They don't get a lot of personal space, so to speak.
There is not a lot of room on there.
Their seat becomes their home. As far as our staff bus, that's where we take care of a lot of meetings and a lot of planning and a lot of things from night to night
Right.
as we're traveling down the road. But I don't think there's anything crazy. It's just that's
As you say with a
sort
smile.
of,
As you say with a smile.
It's sort of behind the curtain.
Won't throw anything out.
Yeah. So anyway, there's not a lot to talk about.
Interesting. Can't get anything out of you. That's going to be the question I'm going to start answering people. I'm asking people, hey, so how you like being on Crossmen? I love being on Crossmen. Okay, so you're a veteran. What happens on the bus? What? Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing happens.
on the bus.
Sleeps on the bus.
Sleep happens on the bus,
Yeah.
and drumline practicing on practice pads happens on the bus.
That's when I was marching. Of course, it was at Churchill High School back in the day. We didn't have practice pads. We had our drums, so they didn't get near our bus because one, it was loud, and two, if you were not in the drum line, you were getting a stick thrown at you. So they did not come to our bus.
Good to see that the drumline back then, Mark, was very considerate of everybody.
We didn't care.
Caring and
You weren't on the drum
loving
line.
and
Get off our bus.
Nothing like a good team
was-
building thing.
I was dating a cheerleader, and hey, she wasn't even allowed on the bus.
All right.
Sorry, that's protocol. If you're not on the drum line, get off.
Got it.
Just to let you know. So when my drumline bus pulls up, which is basically going to be a car, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. But the 1 mile's coming up as well. So, folks, I know you're training. I know Joel's training for that, which he trained last year. Not. But anyway.
I wasn't there.
You weren't there. I know. And Joe, who, of course, Good News Joe, he was like, I'm training. He's like, I didn't bring my shoes. All I have was my flip-flops.
Convenient.
I know. All I have was my flip-flops. I'm like, Joe, you live like 5 minutes up the road. I don't have time to go get them.
Yeah.
So, but I know Fred's training, and he's getting ready. Of course, he's doing a lot of traveling. He
has been doing a lot of traveling. He's been out in California this week for board of directors meeting for DCI, it's been he's taking care of those committee things and his involvement with DCI, so that's always a positive, and we've been holding down the fort. And of course, they just came back. He and Maureen had gone, did a little traveling in the last week. So,
yes.
So we've been busy. We haven't seen him. We miss him terribly, but we'll see him today and this weekend for camp. So
I'm putting it out to the chat. Does anybody have any questions for Joel? Because he is amped. Are you a baseball fan, by the way?
I am a baseball fan.
Are you a Rangers fan?
I am this weekend. Is that the right answer?
That's a very political answer. So who do you actually like for baseball?
I follow the same team as my dear friend Joe Benegas, the New York Yankees.
Dopers.
When I was about 8 years old, I really wanted to be Don Mattingly. I thought he was like the
Dapper
coolest
Don.
guy ever. Yeah. So I really wanted to be like, and I was terrible at baseball. I played Little League, and I think I had like a .15 batting average or something ridiculous. But
he got out once.
So then they handed me some drumsticks, and it was all downhill from there. So that's kind of that's sort of been my path towards sports. Was very short lived.
Very nice. You got Snare Chris retweeting that we're on the air. So hey, Chris, how are you?
Chris, welcome.
Yep. I tried to get his drum line down here, and they couldn't do it because it's the end of the year. They got guys graduating. Sure. They've got guys same thing. They got guys doing guard. So
it's a tough kind of year, and we talked about this the other day too in our meeting. Is that it's probably the biggest nebulous area. It's like right at the end of school and right before that everybody starts up for band camp and some of those summer rehearsals again. So it's hard, but we really want to try to get that stacked, the MMX event stacked with some great groups to perform. Our drumline battle and any sound sport teams, if any of those have been formed, we'd love to have them do that. We just really want to make the MMX a huge event, and Rico has done a great job of putting together a lot of those pieces and reaching out to get some sponsors for that event and try to make it a bigger thing.
I need to get with Rico. Rico, if you're listening, call me later. We need to get together and we'll get some stuff going. So Vint wants to know what happened to the apple at the end of the tour.
Vint, the apple was in the jar, and we carried it literally in this mason jar all summer long, and I think the next to last day, we held it this long, somebody tripped, and the jar shattered everywhere, and there went the apple. We even named the apple. It was Benny the Apple. So
I don't even want to know.
Yeah, who knows, man? Again, 14, 15-year-old kid seems like a great idea.
It's like,
that was before cell phones and everything else to keep us occupied. So let's watch an apple ferment in a jar.
That's so disgusting. So because I've seen apples. Well, we had I'm talking about potatoes, how bad they are, because obviously when they decompose, they leak and all kinds of other gross stuff, and the smell is just horrendous.
The apple smelled pretty bad.
Did it? Yeah. Huh. Interesting. I had a question I was going to ask you. Oh, so baseball, what position did you play?
I played like right field. I think it was mostly like
that's the best position.
Yeah, I was an outfielder.
I won't even tell you.
Yeah.
I played since birth.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You're probably better at baseball.
I was a catcher, went through the Little League World Series, left-handed catcher. Yeah, went through the whole thing. Got to high school, discovered girls, quit baseball. My dad and I, honestly, swear to God, my dad and I cannot sit down and watch a baseball game together. He gets so mad because he's like, you ruined your life. You threw it away. You could be retired with some hot blonde on the beach or something right now.
Wow.
I'm like, well, I married a hot blonde, so come on, thanks, Dad. But no, I mean, it's one of those things like, we grew up in Hawaii, so when I was playing, when I was in the 7th grade or 6th grade playing, I had high school coaches looking at me as a catcher. Left-handed catcher is very rare. Sure. And went to the Little League World Series, had a great batting average, all that stuff. And then we got beat by Japan 22-1. I was the one guy who scored. So I was looked at by high school coaches in Hawaii to play, and we moved to San Antonio. And then like I said, discovered girls and went, oh.
I still have about 10,000 baseball cards in my
Do
closet that I just cart from city to city as I've moved, and they just stay in these bins in the closet. So
they're probably worth some money someday.
And, I actually have a couple of like Mickey Mantle cards. And
do you have any Ranger cards? You can probably get signed this weekend.
Sure, I should bring some. I'll see what I can do.
See,
bring you some.
See how you are. No, don't bring me. Take them to the guys, have them sign them. You probably get some money.
I don't think any of those guys are still playing. I think my last baseball card is like 1994. So.
Oh, yeah. Those guys are retired by now. But again, tomorrow night, folks, it's going to be a great time. Obviously, I don't know. I haven't checked the TV schedule. I don't know if they're actually going to
I'm not sure if they're
televise it.
Yeah, I don't know. So
I know San Antonio will have it all over and stuff. But
this is the last weekend, I think, for exhibition baseball.
And then it really kicks off.
Then we kick off with the opening day is next week at some point. So
Yankees fan, bunch of dopers. Yeah. Say that right now. I say that only because a lot of guys have been busted. And we actually have an ebook club tonight that we're doing at 8 o'clock with Betsy Kramer Andreu, who was in the hospital room with Lance Armstrong when all that stuff happened.
No kidding.
So yeah, we're doing a radio show tonight at 8 o'clock, and the co-author of the book, the Willman that wrote about Lance, she's calling in. I mean, it's just going to be nuts. So yeah. So Vint said musical announcement yet.
Soon. Our plan is to do it after WGI. So sometime right in the middle of April, we should be able to make an announcement and get that out there. Really this weekend, like I said, we'll have most of the music under our belt and start some drill. So this sort of is our last opportunity to really see how all that works. I'm sure there'll still be some edits and some changes, but Chuck and Andrew have done a great job with the arrangements. I think all the members are real happy with the book that's been put out there, and we're excited to see how the drill kind of unfolds. That's a new piece for us, but It's cool. I can tell you this event, you're going to love it. It's really exciting. It's got a lot of energy to it. Reminds me a lot of just some of the Crossmen stuff, from years back, but it just has that drive underneath it,
Yeah, Fred was saying on an earlier show that it's not going to end on a low note. It's going to end on a
That's correct.
Basically in your face. Here you go.
That is correct. You're going to hear some tunes that are reminiscent from some years past that will make an appearance, but it's going to be cool.
Chuck saying, just a hint, we're using all 12 chromatic notes.
That should narrow it down.
So how cool is it to have Chuck on staff?
I think it's great. Chuck is able to come in for our camps, and that's a big draw for our members too. Chuck
right.
is well known in the brass community, and I think that the kids latch onto that, and it's exciting. And I remember when I was marching, actually that was Chuck's first year with the Crossmen back in 2000. It was exciting. Oh, Chuck's going to be here this weekend,
right.
Or with our percussion staff, it was at the time in '99. Tom Hannum's here.
Right.
Some of these names that we start to know in the drum corps community, and to have them involved with that is really cool. And I don't know because I'm not a member anymore, but I would speculate that they get excited about that too. So, and it's nice to have him there, and he gets to hear it in person, and it's something that sending recordings doesn't always do it justice, and hearing the MIDI recording, but when you get a chance to hear it live, it really allows him to do what he needs to do to make it even better.
That is so true.
Yeah.
That is so true. So we have a trivia question that you're supposed to come up with about brass, because I think we did drums last week.
No, we did brass last week because we were talking about.
Oh yeah. What was the instrument? Yeah, what was the one instrument? The flugelhorn.
Let's see.
Chuck says he now feels 173 years old.
173.
Is that even possible?
I don't know.
Chuck's like, yes, it is. I feel it. I feel it right now. He said, I'll be walking around with my legal pads, reams of notes. And I've seen it. These guys, obviously, Chuck, a lot of tech guys, they're walking around going, I got to write that down, because that's, like you said, there's some editing that's going to be happening.
Yeah, I think again, I don't want to speak for Chuck or those guys, but it seems like in their position, they're not the hands-on necessarily instructors during the course of the weekend, but they're able to really walk around, get some feedback, listen to this, see how this works, talk to the folks. Mike was in last camp, our drill writer, and it was awesome to watch him just walk around and talk to some of the kids and say, hey, what do you guys think about this? Or talk to the tenor players. Would you guys be able to do this if I did this? And really get some direct feedback.
Oh, that's awesome.
From some of the kids and the instructors, without just saying, okay, I'm just going to write this and it is what it is. So, I think Chuck and those guys have a chance to listen and make adjustments and make changes that are great changes, instead of, okay, now it's June 13th, and we go, oh, maybe we need to change that or fix that. Everything from music to drill goes through a revision process, just like you would if you were writing a novel. You're going to go through some edits and first drafts and second drafts, and fortunately we're getting to the point where a lot of it's pretty close. There's just some little things here and there that make some changes. So kudos to those guys for their good work so far. So.
Yeah, so how excited are you about this year, Vice coming from last year?
I'm excited. Well, I really liked the 2013 program. I thought it was a really neat show, to be honest with you. I was really excited when I got involved again with them last summer, and I thought, what a great collection of tunes we put together in that program. But I think this is just different, but it's exciting, and I think in some ways maybe some more characteristic drum corps sounds, and it's going to be cool. So. You're going to really like it. And there's a lot of great colors and opportunities to utilize that in the visual design.
Right.
Sort of the thematic material that ties it together. And just talking to the color guard folks and some of there aren't a ton of props, but there'll be some props and some specific things that will tie all that the concepts together. And it's gonna be neat. So. Yeah.
It's interesting. Actually, you're pumped up for it.
I am. I'm really I love drum corps. Not as long as Chuck, but I've been doing this for a while as well. So,
man, you're not making any friends with Chuck this weekend, because
kidding,
Vince
Chuck.
already said, "No way, Chuck, you're more than what is hip." Then I threw out my hip, and Maureen, of course, is listening on the phone, or she's on her way to pick up Fred from the airport, and Barry saying "Go Bones." So It's pretty cool because it's one of those things that we're getting closer and closer to the season, and it's mostly like you were talking about. When you go away for the summer, you're gone. You're not, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go home and get something to eat, or oh, I gotta go home and do laundry. You're gone from day one until after Worlds.
Yeah, and I think for the members, that's part of the experience, and that's what they sign up for. For some of our staff guys that are on for the entire summer, those dog days of summer in the middle of Idaho or something else.
Right.
It takes its toll on you, but it's still fun. I mean, I enjoy watching the kids perform. I enjoy doing what I do for the drum corps, and every day is busy. There's not any days that we're just lounging around, hanging out, drinking Diet Cokes. So, it's cool. I did want to talk about for a few minutes just our Crossmen 151s.
Let's do it. Let's do a quick commercial break.
Yeah, sure.
It's going to be like a minute, and then we're going to come back and talk about our 151s and how we need more of them. We'll be right back here on iSpeakForYou.net. Of course, it's the Bones Hour. Oh, yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Crossmen, world-class drum corps, and I Speak For You radio events want you to save the dates. 13 and 14 June 2014. That's right, the Crossmen, Texas's only world-class drum corps, representing San Antonio, Texas to the world, presenting their second annual 1 mile run, walk, stroll, crawl, whatever you need to do. How fast can you run 1 mile? All information on iSpeakForYou.net or Crossmen.org. I say save the dates 13 and 14 June. The run is on the 14th, but the 13th is their MMX, their dress rehearsal, before they go out on tour around the country. Find out more information again at Crossmen.org or iSpeakForYou.net.
Here we are.
We're back. It's a quick commercial break. It's about the 1 mile. We're ready to go. Fred's ready to get on that podium again, by the way.
Yeah, that's a great event, and I'm glad we started that last year, our Run Your Brass Off.
I don't know how many entries we have, by the way.
I don't know.
I know we have 151.
We need to get more. So,
I know we have 151.
There you go. We have 151.
Which is the 150-member corps and Fred.
And Fred, perfect.
There you go.
Not to be confused with our 151s.
That's right. So let's talk about the 151s.
Yeah, our 151s, for those of you that don't know, is our volunteer arm of the drum corps, and they are really the 151st member. We talk about the 12th man in football.
Yes.
151st member, and they have been fantastic this season so far. I think far exceeded my expectations in terms of number of folks we had volunteering with the drum corps. The willingness and participation level has just been fantastic. So we're continuing to recruit our 151s and really looking to build our volunteer base. And actually just yesterday, Rico and I went down to a training for SA 2020, which is the mayor's vision for San Antonio. By 2020, we're going to meet these developing ideas and concepts. And so we are now a partner with SA 2020. And what's really cool about that is we have the capacity to put out volunteer requests, to put out event requests on their website, which goes to a ton of different people. But what's really neat about it is that they track a lot of that data. So we start to see that if we have volunteers that we're pulling in from our non-normal base of people that sign up through this SA 2020, they are really connected in terms of data, and they get survey data back, and they get all this stuff. So you can start to see the demographics and the level of participation, and I think quantify a little bit more the impact that Crossmen is having on San Antonio. Because we're not only just, we qualify under civic engagement because we're getting volunteers. We qualify under arts and culture for the obvious reasons. We qualify under, healthy living because of, we can quantify some of those things in the training that we do for our members, et cetera. So I think there are a lot of components to that. So that's really cool. And that sort of segues into our next thing with the 151s, where we've sort of had a stable base of people that have come from camp to camp, and we've seen these same parents and same great folks. But now's the time to start planning for the summer. And we have driving positions. We have food truck volunteers. We have uniform needs. We have all that stuff has to continue on during the course of the summer. So we want to certainly make sure that we have people that are volunteering and part of that whole development. So next week, we'll be sending out to all of our volunteer lists that we have so far opportunities to sign up. We've got our calendar coming out. We've got all that set up. It allows you to see where our fly-in dates and our fly-out dates are, and what are fly days and no-fly days, and really give them a sense of, okay, I can come in on this day. I may only be able to stay for 5 days, but that's how we really piece together. And our Crossmen volunteers are quite simply what keep the thing moving down the road. You never want to mess with your truck drivers or your volunteers, because that's how we move and that's how we get fed.
So true. So what you want to do, folks, if you can volunteer, obviously go to crossmen.org, see what you can do to help out.
Volunteer.
Yep.
There's actually a volunteer site, and you can sign up on there and get a sense of what our tour schedule is, because there's a link to that, and say, hey, I can do this 5 days, or I can do this 7 days, and fly out, meet the Corps, and fly home. So
then you have folks like Petey.
Petey is our food manager.
Yep.
And he is with us from the first day to the last day. And actually, Petey, I don't know, a lot of people probably don't know this, but he actually moved here to San Antonio in November, early December. It was right at when we had the San Antonio Experience Camp.
Right.
So he was with us for San Antonio Experience Camp, our Houston Experience Camp, our San Antonio Callback Camp, all of the Army All-American Bowl, January camp, February camp, March camp, April camp, and then move-in will be with us from May 23rd to the end. So he really just kind of put his life on hold, moved to San Antonio, and we are, of course, thankful to him and his work. And he has been staying with one of our members' families, the McCurtains, Diana McCurtain, and he has been staying with Diana and their family. And they just opened up their home to him, and he's been able to help out with some of the other things that they're doing that Sean's involved in, their son Sean is involved in. So it's been really great. And yesterday was Petey's birthday. So
hey,
big
happy
birthday to Petey.
Yeah.
And so he's such a valuable asset to the team. We couldn't do it without him, because he really just knows how to handle the kitchen, knows how to work with all of our great 151s who are kind of in and out. And if you're interested in being a 151, remember, you don't have to cook, because we've got Petey. You just have to maybe dice some vegetables and set up and serve and break down and do all that stuff. So it's really a great time, and we're thankful for Petey and all of our team of people. So.
Yeah, that's so awesome. The food truck, of course, that's not the only thing you can do. Like you said, looking for drivers. There's so much that we have volunteers to help out with.
Sure. We use drivers for our van driver, although Warren, who is one of our great 151s, has been with us, and he'll be with us again this whole summer.
Nice.
So he'll be driving our volunteer van from place to place, and we utilize some RV drivers. So if you can feel comfortable hauling an RV with a large trailer behind it, we need some help there.
I can do that.
We don't need bus drivers. And
I should be back on
truck
weekends
drivers,
for races.
All right, yeah, sure. We'll just fly in and out, Mark.
Yeah, there you go, Marine. Hey, just fly me in and out.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll go well.
Yeah, that'll happen. Marine's like, forget it, Mark. Make it happen. But no, Clint. Chuck had said Mike and himself will be spending significant time together this weekend. First chance to work together, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, most of the time the design team has a chance to talk via conference call.
Right.
They have regular conference calls, and they go to work, and then they come back together, and they send out drafts. And I mostly just get CC'd on a lot of the emails, so I see a lot of the conversations. And it's a very collaborative effort in order to make this thing work. It's not just one person saying, this is what we're doing, and that's it.
Right.
So it's really cool to see the work that they're doing together. But face-to-face, this will be the first time that Mike and Chuck have been together. So that'll be really cool. And, that's a key part.
How important is that? You touched on it real quick about
Yeah.
the effort that goes on between the staff and the crew. But do you see that in DCI around the world, or you basically just see that the Crossmen is really setting the forefront for that?
I think it's pretty common for most drum corps to collaborate on the level that they're going to. I mean, I think over the course of time, designers and arrangers and staff, they've gotten smarter in terms
Right.
of how not that they weren't smart before, but just how the process unfolds, and making sure that they're going through all the right checkpoints and checks and balances and edits and revisions, and
Right.
and that the product that we put out there is really of a very high caliber. And in order to do that, you've got to work together. You can't just be in a vacuum and have a brass arranger arranging the book and and a percussion arranger arranging a book, and then a drill designer doing drill design, and then hope that it's all going to come together. There's really has to be a sense of those all working cohesively with each other, and our team does a great job with that, And so I think we're going to see a really great show this year. So and having Andrew doing all of the percussion arranging. In the past couple of years, he's done just the front ensemble.
Yeah.
But I think what we see with him doing the battery and the front ensemble is a much more cohesive percussion package. And that's not a knock on Lee, who was doing the battery book for us in the past, but there was a little bit of a disconnect, or there could be a disconnect because they're working independently.
Right.
But now we've got everybody working, in the same direction. So it should be cool.
It's going to be very awesome to see the 2014, of course, the 40th anniversary of the Crossmen. Have you had a lot of alumni or folks that obviously your previous fans of the Crossmen come back and going, oh, I remember back when I saw them in 1975 or what have you?
Yeah, I think that there has been certainly a little bit of a renewed interest in the drum corps. With any pinnacle year like this,
right.
You're going to have, this is the 40th year. That's a big deal. Drum corps today are not 40 years old. You have your normal collection of them, but you see drum corps in and drum corps out. So to have an organization that has survived for this long is really, really cool. I mean, when I marched in 1999, it was the 25th anniversary of the drum corps. So it's hard to believe that, oh man, has it really been another 15 years
right.
since then? But, before that, and those checks and balances or the checkpoints along the way, and 40 is a big one. So it should be pretty cool. And to put on a new uniform that still is very Crossman, I'll just say that. That'll be what I give away about the uniform. It's very Crossman.
I'm still waiting on the picture.
So.
But anyway, you talked about it 15 years. I want to talk about, obviously, you're a young man. But when you marched in 99 and you're like, man, 15 years later, here I am. How's the evolution been of DCI since when you marched to now? Where do you see the biggest, besides social media and all that, where do you see the biggest advantage being? Or significant growth?
I think there have been some significant changes in terms of rule changes with the addition of electronics in the early part of, or the mid part of the 2000s. And then even earlier than that was when we went to all, brass. The brass instruments became all B-flat instruments for the most part. That became standard instrumentation. Opening that up changed a little bit of the thing. For me, what I've just continued to notice even from the 90s until now has been the visual program just continues to soar, and the visual demands that we're putting on the members is really incredible. I think about the level of, and I'm a percussionist, I'm a drumline guy, and I think about the level of drumming, that these kids are achieving now while doing it running, literally sprinting across the field is really interesting to me. And I think that's continued to change. And same with brass. What we're demanding from them from a visual standpoint is much different. And I think then that sometimes puts limitations on what you can accomplish, because we want this visual to be at this level. So that is really, we've seen a real surge in that development, the visual program development. And, continuing to, some of the shows have been kind of out there sometimes, at least from my perspective, but that doesn't make them any less excellent. And I think that's, for me, what continues to draw me to drum corps is, you go and you sit in the stands and you watch this, and I'm just mesmerized when I watch this. I'm still on sensory overload, as I was in 1993 as a 14-year-old kid watching Star of Indiana for the first time and going, what am I watching? And just thinking, wow, what a development that it is today. So I forget who we were talking with the other day, that amazing when you look at 72, the foundation of DCI, to 92,
right?
And then 92 to 2012. It's interesting to see how that process has developed. 70s to the 90s, huge leaps and bounds, and maybe not as much from 92 to 2012. I'm sure that could be debated, but there are certainly some shows along the way that could still be really successful today. So.
Right. One of the rule changes, you said some real quick, but one of the rule changes coming online is the trombone coming in. However, and we'll talk about that in just a minute, but Chuck said uniform is cool. You'll know what is the Crossmen when they're at the starting gate.
For sure. It is definitely signature Crossman. I will give away and say that the white Aussie will maintain as part of our uniform as we've had. For
And that's
the
all
last
you need to
couple years.
say. That's it.
And you'll know. You'll know it's Crossmen.
Yeah,
so.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Chuck is saying, it looks like my daughter's going to get us lunch. That's pretty awesome. Where are you going? Huh? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Get them white. All right. Yeah, my daughter's leaving the studio here at highspeedforyou.net. But so Chuck's saying the cohesive package and the music functioning somewhat more as a soundtrack is significant as a change in his opinion.
Yeah, I mean, say that again. I think that's accurate.
Because I put on here, how has DCI changed in the last 10 years? Mm-hmm. Chuck said the cohesive package and the music functioning somewhat more as a soundtrack is a significant as a change in his opinion.
I would interpret that. I think what he's referring to is that we've designed these programs, and that have a great deal of general effect, and they're designed by a certain, to tell this story. There's your movie, and the music sort of supports that whatever that visual image is, or whatever that story we're trying to tell. And I agree. I think the cohesive nature, it's not just, and again, that maybe goes back to what we're talking about, the collaboration between the design team. It's a much more cohesive thing than, hey, I'm going to arrange this music and you're going to arrange this drill for it. They work in tandem with each other. So
yeah, because I don't think we could have done Protest 10, 15 years ago.
I don't think it
would have the same dramatic.
Yeah, I don't think it would have had the same impact, that it did. I mean, that's a pretty poignant statement we made last year with a lot.
And there's
of
still people
things.
talking about it on Facebook, on Twitter.
It's a cool show, and in my opinion, I don't think it got as much credit as it should. But I'm a little bit biased. So,
we're all biased. We're all Crossmen. Barry's saying the color of the pants have changed.
Have the color of the pants changed? Well, I can.
No,
tell
he just
you,
put the color of the pants changed. I mean, he maybe forgot to have, but.
Well, I'll tell you this: we are not wearing purple pants,
and we cannot talk about. We don't want to talk about the uniforms too much.
Yeah,
it'll be a surprise.
It will be a surprise.
They look marvelous, I will say, and the Aussies is still there. So
there you go.
There you go, and you'll definitely know it's a Crossman coming.
Definitely.
Yeah. So Vince saying amplification of the pit, electronics added, new brass instrumentation, judging rule changes, all immediate to come to mind as the changes of the last 10 years.
Yeah, those are all significant changes, and they've been met with resistance at times, and not as much resistance at other times. And I think a lot of it is perhaps at times some of these things have come through and just need to be tested and worked out in a certain way. I mean, I know the electronics, it seems like when they first came online with things, it was almost overkill. And we had people doing, everything was amplified, and we had singers, and those aren't bad things to be used, but it was like, hey, we have electronics, so we're going to use it to the maximum.
Right.
And I don't know that was the original sort of thought process behind it, but what we've seen is that...
did they have folks, not to cut you off, but they have folks like cranking the volumes up to 10, and you're like, you know what, we can't even hear the screamers in the back because...
There was a lot of that.
Was there?
I mean, there probably is some of that still now. We're constantly playing with how it's and putting a balanced music ensemble on the field, and so we try to play with that, particularly at Crossmen, and what are the levels and what do we want to highlight, what do we want to support,
right?
But I mean, I think really amplification came about from being a supportive to the front ensemble, because we had kids that are just banging the snot out of these keyboards to get some projection, so it allowed there to be a little bit more of that amplification, and that turned into something a little bit crazier. But I think it's come back down the other way a little bit. We don't see it at the full throttle. It's sort of reached that happy kind of in between, at least. No,
but that's true though, because I remember in 84, 83, 84, when I was a snare drummer and I used to go watch DCI, or they had it on ESPN back then. The pit, xylophone guys were just banging. I mean, they were just hammering away those things. I was going, to be in DCI. And my thought was like, to be in DCI, you really got to hammer on those things. So amplification obviously played an effect on calming them down, so to speak.
Well, and putting making characteristic sounds
right.
on those instruments, because those instruments are designed as concert instruments.
Right.
And so you don't want to be, hammering away at those, and it allows them to approach the keyboards and that instrumentation with a little bit more sensitivity, rather than just, hammering away.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I'd asked my kids when we went to one of the camps recently, I said, what was your favorite instrument? And, Chris Lyman was standing right there, and my son goes, "Oh, the xylophone." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Dude, you got the snares right like 3 feet from you." The xylophone was cool.
Not everyone can be a snare drummer, Mark. I know that's your desire.
That's right. Not everybody can be a snare. I'm going to make a shirt that says that. I want to have a shirt that says Crossmen, and on the back it says, "Not everyone can be a snare drummer."
Okay. I bet the snare line would buy into those.
I'm telling you right now. So judging rule changes is another thing that Vin had put. Obviously, like you said, electronics, because now they're talking into recording devices. Whereas I remember before they were writing around with a walking piece of paper and a little clipboard.
Piece of paper, and it moved to a little cassette recorders for a while, and now we have this great system that really they are using an electronic recorder as they're moving around out in the field.
Right.
But then that stuff is immediately uploaded to a program we use called Competition Suite, and all of those tapes, quote unquote, is delivered almost instantaneously to any of the staff that are in the competition suite. So like if we're at a contest, I'll get a little text message that says, "Your tapes are now available on competition suite." I don't think they call them tapes. Your recordings are now available on competition suite. And you can literally on your phone listen to it like you're having a conversation, but you're listening to all of the recordings. It's pretty neat. And then that's where they put recaps, and that's where they put the sheets and all that kind of stuff. So, I think that's part of what's changed as well. And judging in terms of rules, I think have undergone different, or the judging scoring criteria has changed, in different ways. Things have had more weight or less weight, or some of those things. There's a recent addition this year which takes the effect caption and makes it general effect, rather than in the old general effect visual, general effect music, that those things become essentially one sheet, and you're looking at effect from the standpoint of, hey, I'm sitting there and what is the whole package saying to me? And it's not necessarily audience appeal like some people originally thought. It's really set up to be, okay, what are my impressions of this, whether it's music, whether it's visual or not, and how do those tie together? So
yeah, because I've got a couple of comments real quick, but I want to get your input on this. I'll go to the comments first, then I'll get your input on it. Vince, like how to judge general effect, what you were just talking about. And Chuck, yep, I listen and comment every night, even from home.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool because it's all electronics. You just, here I am.
Yeah, absolutely. So so Chuck and all of our design team, they're on the competition suite, and they can, get their notes, make some notes, call in, and while we're sitting on a bus heading to the next, housing site or wherever, they're on the phone with either Ed or our brass staff or whatever that is, whichever caption that is that needs attention. And the feedback is much more instantaneous. Our way of communicating, and you alluded to that a little bit with social media and the influx of even cell phones. I mean, we're able to communicate on a lot different level and relate to each other and talk to each other. And here's how we can change this. Here's how we can fix this. This is what we can do, without it being like, let me write you a handwritten letter and put it in the mail.
Well, no, that's how it used to be. Was when they did the handwriting, and then you get it. Hopefully you get it at the end of the night. Yeah. And then you're traveling to the next station the next performance going, okay, then you got to hand the papers out or make copies and stuff. But now, like you said, you just get on the phone and, okay, yeah, let's make a phone call and make this happen.
Exactly.
But now I want to get your point. What I wanted to come back to real quick, and Chuck, Vent, obviously, anybody can actually chime in on this, the point system. Because last year we qualified, and we did a great job. We came in, did a higher points than we did in 2012, but missed out.
Right.
How does that... I know you got to be political, because I would be political, but how's that chomp? They're like, hey, man, we did better than we did, but we missed.
Well, I think the bottom line is that, if I look back and I think about, again, I only have to relate to my time in marching as a member, but when I was thinking about that, when you got past the top 12 or 13, maybe 14 corps, things dropped off fairly significantly, in my opinion. There were still very talented groups, but for whatever reason or another, one of the components wasn't working. And I think what we see now is you get outside of the top 12 and suddenly 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, all the way down are performing at an extremely high level. So while Crossmen from year to year, if you just look at the raw number, 2012 to 2013, did improve, in comparison to the other groups, they also all got better.
Right.
And I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And we can only control, what we can control in Crossman land. But the interesting thing about that is that we're seeing because of the design process, because of the level that everybody brings to the table. It's hard. It's a race anymore, and it used to be if you weren't in top 12, then now if you're not in top 7, I mean the
Right.
standards have certainly increased. The number of drum corps has decreased, but the standard of the folks that are there, I think, has increased, just from a fan and staff perspective.
Yeah, Chuck put different judges, different contest dynamics. Hey, I got a good thing. We're gonna talk about it real quick, but different judges, obviously different adaptation or whatever you want to say of what they're seeing.
Sure. I mean, they don't get a little diagram when they,
Right.
Not all the judges get a diagram and said, please go stand over here first and then go
Stand on this X.
first, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
Go stand on this, So I think, they're getting a different read on everything every night. And you have some people that put more weight on this or more emphasis on this. And it gives them, we're going to get it's a subjective sport, to
Right.
say the least. So you're going to get some differing opinions of what people think is at this level and what people think at this level. We just got to keep making our program better from what our philosophy is and what we believe in, and try to keep working with we've got great musicians and we've got great staff. So we have a pretty good idea of the things that we can do better. And a lot of it, quite frankly, a lot of it just needs to come down to execution and excellence in that regard. That for our caliber of drum corps we're at in the spectrum, I think that's the biggest part about it. Is we've got to be really good at what we're doing. So
That's so awesome. Maureen is texting in. She's saying that please announce HEB has donated $2,500 to the uniform fund.
HEB has donated $2,500 to the
Yes.
uniform fund. We have a parent that is involved with HEB, and he was able to reach out to procure a donation of that caliber, which is huge and really pushes that needle up. We're really close on the uniform donation, and so a big thank you to Mr. Martinez for reaching out to his employer and to the folks at HEB. To me, it's kind of cool that HEB is this Texas brand, and here we are, and they're headquartered, and we have a ability to connect with them, so that's pretty awesome.
It's just amazing because obviously the uniforms. We're not going to really get on them too much. I mean, everybody wants to know, but you're going to know it's a Crossman. I mean, as soon as you see it, you'll be like, "That's a Bones."
I think we probably tend to forget just in our normal, scope of operation that's not just something, that's budgeted every year. We're just going to spend $40,000 on new uniforms, because that's essentially, pretty close to $40,000 is what it costs to overhaul that uniform, and that's new bibbers and new jackets and new Aussies and new gauntlets and new plumes and the whole works. We don't have the ability to just do that every year,
right?
So it's really taken the efforts of a lot of folks to put money up and to utilize our giving program that they can raise money for the drum corps, because that's a specialty type of thing. It's outside our normal scope of operation.
Yeah, we'd like to thank everybody who's donated to that, obviously. Absolutely. And obviously very nice. And thank you, HEB, for that donation. Again, everything Crossman you can find online at crossman.org. Representing Texas, the only world-class drum corps in Texas. Tomorrow night at the Alamo Dome, playing for the Rangers and Houston Oilers. I say Houston Oilers when I was at a race this weekend too. Houston Oilers don't even. They're not even here anywhere.
They're just not called the Houston Oilers anymore.
Yeah, that's right. They moved to Tennessee, became the Tennessee Oilers, and blah, 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 blah. But anyway, playing for the Houston Astros, right? It's baseball season. Yeah. And because I'm still watching Johnny Manziel on ESPN doing his pro day. Sorry about that, Joel. But no, obviously Houston Astros and the Texas Rangers playing tomorrow night in the Alamo Dome. The Crossmen will be performing. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be awesome. Again, like you said earlier in the show, 35,000 people in the stands to get the experience of Crossmen.
Absolutely. And you're going to hear that announcement. They're going to say, Texas's only world-class drum corps from San Antonio. Please welcome Crossmen. So it should be pretty cool.
I wouldn't have said it that way.
Well, that's why I edit the script and you don't.
I'd be like, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I didn't say it with the excitement and the enthusiasm. I'm sure they will say it.
I'd be like jumping up and down the press box.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Yeah. See, you should do it.
If they'll let me,
you'll be on the field.
Yeah, I will be.
You'll be like getting Ranger autographs.
Giddy. I'm excited about it. So.
Very nice. Again, ladies and gentlemen, crossman.org for all your Crossman information. Follow them on Twitter at Crossman. and find out what's going on. Again, all the incredible bones that are coming in this weekend to San Antonio. Have a great camp. We look forward to seeing you. Obviously, those are coming in, obviously, to get to perform tomorrow night at the Alamo Dome. Thank you very much for getting here early for that, because they'll only see a smidgen of the Crossmen. Obviously, we won't have all 50,
Sure.
150
we got
out there.
65 members will be performing tomorrow night, so that's a pretty good turnout. And just in terms of who we are able to pull in, because people really are coming from all over. We've got people coming from camp, and just quite simply in their day and their travel. We have a ton of people flying in. They're not able to make it in time, so to be able to get 65 members for a performance like this, I think is going to be really cool. And if you're at camp this weekend or you want to come out on Sunday, we will do our full ensemble together at 11:30 a.m. So you'll have an opportunity to see the corps then and perform some music and put it all together. So I'm pretty excited. 11:30 a.m. on Sunday at Judson Middle School. That's a change for all
Google
of you
it.
out there.
Yeah, don't go to Madison. Go to Judson Middle School on Sunday.
Yeah. So should be great.
I'll be announcing a half Ironman on that day.
We'll forgive you.
It's funny because I wish I wasn't actually going to be announcing it at all, and they called me yesterday and said, "We'll pay you X amount of dollars." I went, okay.
Crossmen Music Ensemble paycheck.
Christmas.
Yeah,
actually, we're going on cruise in July, so this is all cruise money.
Enjoy that. We'll be in Idaho, I'm sure, by that point.
Yes, you will. You will. Vince saying, have an awesome camp, great show, and Vin, we need you to come over. Actually, Vin's been a winner in the past.
Say that again? Sorry.
Vint has been a winner of our trivia questions in the past.
Oh, that's right. We didn't do a trivia question. Oops. I forgot.
I should do like a trivia. What was the instrument that Joel played?
You could do that one.
Yeah, we'll do it next time.
All right.
Next Thursday, no trivia question today. Don't answer that question if you do know the answer. Next week, Thursday, 1:30 to 2:30, it's the Bones Hour, and we're going to get into what happened at camp this weekend, and maybe, we may have a picture of the uniform.
We'll see.
If Maureen will allow us.
We'll see.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. This is, of course, Russian Christmas. Give me some new music. We'll talk later.
Have a great day.
All things Crossmen, crossmen.org.